What's going on, guys? It is time for our final day of week 2 from the North American Pro League, and we have some epic games coming your way, starting off with Ghost Gaming, who were right close to the top of the leaderboards up until yesterday when MIBR took over them, and then they're going to be going up against Luminosity as our opening game. Plenty more action to be seen, and the NA Pro League is certainly getting hotter and hotter with more of these teams going for one-for-one splits, little things like Zoos having to fill in for Twists twice now for Team Liquid, which has kind of hindered where they're sat at the moment. But it's all game on, and we're going to take a look at that in depth very soon.
Job any easier, 35 seconds as well. Time playing against the T's. Look at this mowdown, the sweep away. Ethan. This time around, Coldzera bailing him out. 3 kills for him.
Now he's going to be hurt. Does find the first. Just Crystal left to contend with, and Dapper 1v1, and damage done. Only a couple of bullets left, but he's going to make it count with the last in the chamber.
You can micromanage if you have to make an adjustment. He's on one tonight. And they're creating some noise, and they never expected Felton to just walk right in. He blasts away 3.
Oh, we're back. We're ready. Me and Natu were discussing some results as we get jumped into that. That's the way for things to start. Natu's still hanging in there. He's still alive, actually, covering this last day of North American Pro League for yourself. Actually, it is your last full day, isn't it? We're done with you afterwards.
Yeah, that's true. It's been a journey.
I'm going to miss you, man.
Well, you're just going to have to. You're just going to have to. Go on without me.
Yeah, but at least you get to recover that way, right? No more being ill.
Listen, I've literally canceled everything for next week's calendar, so yes, I'm going to be spending a lot of time in bed.
It's been rough as
doing
hell
nothing.
for you.
Yeah.
And what has been rough as hell as well for some of these teams is the standings that we're going to take a look at next. And you can see it on your screen at the moment. MIBR yesterday taking that first place. Team Liquid now moving their way into second. Renegades and Ghost, who were, well, Ghost was first, Renegades was second. They've got a few more matches to play, right? Look at MIBR, they've played tons of matches, as has NRG so far. But it's time now to see kind of where Ghost can go from here, right? We've seen some solid results from them. Today they're going up against Luminosity, which is going to be crazy. We've also got Envy, who are still sat down there right at the bottom, not looking too hot, Natu.
No, definitely not. It's something that you would have expected coming into the season. It's a learning experience for this team. And I guess at this point in time, I think from this sample size at least, you kind of have to think, is this 5-man lineup going to work? Because they haven't really shown signs of improving. I think actually the opposite. They've become worse as the season has gone along. So I'm not sure if that's going to be like signs of maybe them arguing of things. Sometimes just some silly things happening. Team play seems to be borderline disastrous actually. So it's not great signs for the newly born Envy lineup.
Not at all. But we're going to take a quick look at the matches that we've got coming up here today. And we're going to be starting, as I said, with Ghost taking on Luminosity. Then we've got Renegades versus Cloud9, and we'll be ending with some more Ghost action. They're going to go up against Renegades. So both Ghost and Renegades on this main stream that you're watching here now, going to be going head-to-head. Then on the secondary stream, Rogue got a bit of action ahead of him. Probably an easy win for him against Envy, unless we see something different out of it. Certainly one that we'll keep an eye on.
I mean, 2 teams that are struggling, so that's going to be struggle town between the 2 of those. So both need that win desperately.
And then MIBR versus Rogue. Well, MIBR, if they can keep the form we've seen over these last couple of days, that won't be a problem for them. And then Luminosity will be on the other stream as well, starting and ending the days. This time going up against the Complexity. That could be quite an interesting, more even matchup, I'd say. Yes,
especially with Complexity, with the region struggles, and then Luminosity. It's as goes with this matchup that we have first here. Playing against Luminosity has to be a little taunting, because if they don't necessarily always know what they're doing, how are you supposed to try and predict and be one step ahead of the game at any point in time in a match? So that's always going to be an interesting matchup.
Well, Natu, I think it's time for us to start looking more at our game that's coming up ahead of us, right? This Ghost lineup that looks so tactical and so heavy, and the Luminosity side of things where we were very critical of them to start off with. They started to show a bit better on the individual skill things just quite recently, but I'd say overall they've still not performed up to the standard we would expect with names on that roster that we talk about over and over again.
No, definitely not. I mean, I think the later stages of so far this season, they've managed to kind of get the basic elements to work okay. It's a lot about them just basically hitting a bomb site, doing basic splits. But I feel like the build-up phase, as in playing like a default and trying to gain map control, trying to create an opening and maybe get like a 5-on-4 advantage and then utilize that going further in the round.
Yeah.
That kind of still non-existent for this team. It's more about them just trying to hit the bomb site straight away and hope for the best. Make sure that they're trading effectively, which they have in those situations more or less. Which has translated into W's actually in these games. So that's one element. Yes, it's good that you have that in your game, but then there needs to be several layers. You need to be able to change the pace, have more methodical rounds where you kind of put your opponent guessing of what's happening. Obviously, in the sense that, yes, they do make their opponents have to guess because of sometimes it looks like they're a little clueless, but then super hard to win rounds when you don't really have a direction that you're trying to head towards.
Yeah. Well, the direction we're heading towards next is going to be a more in-depth look, and joining us for this Vodafone pre-match.
Vodafone presents the pre-match.
Okay.
Pre-match time. Yep. Even though we kind of alluded to
Reel
it anyway.
that back in.
Yeah, just go back and then go a little bit further forward.
Yes. I mean, what can I say then? Luminosity, just to slowly to put it together. Basically, yes, they have parts of their game that are okay, but then there's a lot of parts that are lackluster. But you look at their lineup. I mean, Tenny, Lucas, you have Steel. Those guys that have already gone through the ropes. They already know what they're supposed to do on the higher echelons of Counter-Strike. So, I mean, definitely they have the ingredients, I would say, to be a team that should be competitive. But then you also kind of have to wonder, there are players such as Phelps, obviously KNG, the caveat, obviously, because of the history and all. I'm not sure they're ever going to be playing together, him and Lucas and Haney. But apart from that, I mean, I feel like there's better components as an outsider looking in to make a better secondary Brazilian lineup, if you consider MIBR a Brazilian lineup at this point in time.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? MIBR not really that kind of Brazilian lineup as such as Luminosity and Insta, I guess the heavy hitters with a full Brazilian lineup now, but this MIBR had looked good regardless. Their games where they played against Ghost, okay, they just got back from Blast, but Ghost really manhandled them, played a very kind of, it was a unique style, right? Because it was tactical for sure, but a lot of their players stepped up. Even Steel here, where we're seeing him on the clips, he was just dominating. Just this kind of performance you didn't really expect from him.
I feel like Steel has improved as an individual. I didn't rate him as much individually, back in the day, honestly, before the whole iBuyPower thing happened. Obviously, I think his leadership qualities have always been quite evident, but from an individual standpoint, he's just definitely never been like a standout player. I don't think he still is. At this point in time, but he definitely has his moments, and he fills the gaps when need be. For example, we saw him win like a clutch 1-on-2 in a pistol round that then led them to have a massive run in the first half of a game, for example. So he might end up with like an 8 to 10 frag kind of range for a half, which is more than enough. If the frags in the right moment in time, that will definitely make a difference. But obviously his qualities are more in the terms of leadership and teaching these youngsters the essentials of Counter-Strike to be competitive at the highest level of the game. Here you look, obviously, Kuz to someone that got into the pro scene very, very early on. He kind of choked in the sense when he was playing with Liquid, when he was playing with CLG. Things were definitely not working out. But now, finally, you can definitely see that he's feeling comfortable and he's being put to roles where he seems to be a fit. At the same time, look at Wardell. He's main opping. Obviously, Kusta was main opping, especially in the Liquid lineup. That's the role that he was supposed to fill. But now they have Wardell in the lineup, and he's shown that he can dominate the server and be the best player on any given Sunday against this NA Pro League opposition. So that's always great signs. You want to have that type of player that can bail you out, that can put your unit in an advantageous situation when things start getting a little bit tough. So I think it's a pretty well-rounded lineup. Also adding Neptune, the youngster coming in, just turning 16 and getting his first outing in the Pro League level, and I think he's really done a great job at it.
Yeah, he certainly showed his stuff, and same with Wardell. These two guys have been kind of the heavy hitters. I guess the only scary thing you could look out for Ghost is if another lineup, say a Cloud9, for example, wanted to try and poach one of these players anytime soon.
Well, I mean, depends how steep his buyout is.
Very true. Well, Cloud9 have a problem with buyouts, do they, at the moment?
Apparently not. They like to buy players and then bench them and, put them on a shelf.
Yeah.
Just sit there, FNS. You look good on a shelf as a memento.
I don't know. I feel really bad for him, right? Because it's like just a bit of wasted talent sat there not doing much, and no one's going to buy him back out at the moment.
Yeah. Well, in FNS is, I mean, obviously also a capable leader in the sense. I mean, curious actually how the whole complexity thing would have gone had FNS actually stayed in complexity, because then obviously Stanislaw got the opportunity to take complexity now to the next level, obviously. So,
And they've been doing all right.
A lot of ifs and buts, but always fun to speculate with the another dimension if there was one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, another dimension is certainly what Luminosity will need to see in terms of actually watching them play up to standard if we expect, right? Because you would happily give Ghost the edge in this. Ghost have looked solid throughout all of Pro League.
Sure.
They're very much well prepared for this. It was even nice to find out they're going to go through the minors without Steel, obviously, so they still want to see what damage they can do there, regardless of losing the man who's been kind of the driving force behind
master.
all of this. Yeah, he is the puppet master.
Yeah.
And obviously he can't even coach, so he's just kind of got to talk through things in the back lines, really.
Yeah.
But talking about back lines, I will now, I guess, pass it over to these commentators. Yeah, there we go. I'm getting told on my ear we're going to the commentators, and it's two different people that we've not had before. It's Hugo and Risk. No, Tom and Risk. There we go. I give up with this segment completely.
Apparently, you and Hugo.
Thanks,
Hello,
thanks
Hugo.
for that stunner. I really appreciate the throw.
Yeah, you're doing really well on the desk there, Machine.
I've grown some hair. Probably got a bit skinnier.
Yeah.
And also a lot more privileged than I was before. Either
You're
way.
happy right now that Hugo's on a plane heading to Moscow, so he can't hear this.
Yeah, exactly. I can say whatever. Well, no, okay. There's a few boundaries
Let's
there.
not go there.
But
yeah, interesting game coming up, as they said on the desk. Ghost Gaming probably coming in as the hot favorites because of the momentum they have in the Pro League so far. If you look on it straight firepower and experience, you would probably say Luminosity, but you always have to take momentum into account, and Ghost Gaming are playing really well.
Well, yeah, I think that's the problem with what you're looking at with Luminosity, is that you look at the sort of potential on this team, you look at what should be there, but the problem is I feel like almost Henny and Lucas have sort of butchered a lot of like the opportunities that they've had, not necessarily through fault of their own all the time, but I don't feel like they've had enough of a consistent roster to properly like actually just play enough Counter-Strike and just be like up at that top tier. And by the looks of things, from what we've seen so far, it hasn't been great. And those are two players that I expect a hell of a lot out of. They're like, at least, especially Henny has hit some of the craziest shots I think I've ever seen in the whole of CS. So.
Yeah.
But it just hasn't seemed to be replicating itself against teams that realistically they should at least be coming close against, but hasn't always been the case. Ghost, on the other hand, look a lot more well-rounded. I think it's definitely going to be an interesting matchup, but I think you'd have to be a little bit mad not to lean in their favor at this point.
Yeah,
At the same time, though, Luminosity, if one of those players just goes off the chains, you don't know what will happen.
That's the thing, right? Because if one of these players steps up, then this could be a really, really interesting best-of-2 series that could go all the way to 30 rounds each map. But if Ghost just keep playing as they usually do, and Luminosity Gaming plays as they usually or have done in Pro League so far, this should be a rather one-sided matchup. Because also one thing we have to note, we start here on Inferno, when you get that CT side, when you get that double-up setup going with Kusta and Wardell, it's very, very hard to stop, especially when you only have one real player who can step up to the plate in that sense from Luminosity, and that T-side up is also very hard to kind of get going. So it's a tough one. We'll have to see the individuals, and I think you're right. Like, Lucas has to step up in this one. He has to be the star player. Steel has to find a way to kind of get him rolling, set him up for the frags.
It's the brothers. It's the brothers that you
Yeah.
have to look through. Henny, I think with that AWP on the CT side is gonna, like, that's the thing. If he's in form, I don't think there's anybody in the server who can match
No.
up. Like that's like in terms of just raw individual talent with that AWP. I think Henny is always going to be someone that's very, very scary to play against.
His
One of
A
the-
game is definitely the highest in the
Yeah,
server
so it's like
individually.
he's got the quickest fingers, probably even in Brazil. Like that's matching up against like people like Fallen. Like when he is hitting his shots, you don't want to be up against him. When he's not, though, wow,
Yeah,
it's a completely different team, and I think that's going to be an important factor.
Consistency is key, as they say, Tom. And right now, a consistent push is going to be the name of the game. Oh, Steel getting dropped down to 12 HP. Has to push in towards the bomb site, but he keeps taking heads. This is the Brazilian version, though. Kusta will take him out. Yell on the back of it. Kusta with one as well. One more, I should say. And Henny in from the back line of Banana. Damage onto Neptune, 3v2.
Yeah, they have managed to get the bomb down, and the T's quickly turn things back into a 2 versus 2. Henny and Lucas, brothers, going to try and retake this site. Oh, it's going to be onto that battle in towards the church. Now, Neptune actually just surviving, and the fact is he still has support. It's left now all onto Lucas. He's only got 25 HP. I just don't think this is going to be happening at all. They've repositioned as well. This is actually great from Ghost. He knew the positions that they were in, and he's still watching for it. He doesn't know that the other man's actually left the site. That is fantastic from Ghost. He's just been completely baited. He's going to be so confused by the end, just like, he wasn't even there? All right, then. Well, Kusta finishes him off. Ghost get the pistol.
Perfect post-plant positions from Ghost Gaming, and not only the way that they take them in that last 2v3, but also the way, as you point out, they rotate around. It's just it's a way of playing around. You're already like 80% sure of winning it, and by doing that rotation, you become 100% sure of winning the round. There's just simply no way that the remaining CT can win that when you change position. And also just in general, just really picking up the pace, a really quick like trade frag route into that bomb site. And now once again we do see a lot of MAC-10s. They really want to get in the face of the opposition right now, Ghost Gaming. They want to beat Luminosity down into the ground and don't not allow them to get any momentum, because they also know that that's how a player like Lucas, Henny, even Yell can get started if they get that momentum, and they don't want to give that to them.
Well, I'm actually really liking the fact that they've gone so heavy with the SMGs. I think that's a nice little bit of a way to change things up, because you're now going to expect the CT side to save. You can make so much extra money here. Now, obviously, going into the next round is going to be a little bit more interesting, but based off the fact that, okay, you're only going to have an extra round of loss bonus, which still means that this is basically just going to be what you'd normally see in a 4th round, right? What that means really is that in terms of head armor, there's actually a fairly low chance of that coming in. And if they do go for head armor, not going to have any utility to slow you down. So realistically, those MAC-10s might not be the worst case. Obviously, you then have this round, which is basically completely free. 4 kills for Kusta on that MAC-10, so he's making $2,400. And now they go into this round, which is basically just a big bonus round for the T side. Like, look at Kusta, he's got $7 grand.
Also, the way that they can just run, like, oh, they're going to buy an AWP. This is an interesting choice on the back of these MAC-10s.
But the thing is, it doesn't matter. Look how much money he still has.
But they can definitely run, like, a quick takeover of top banana with these MAC-10s, and then having an AWP to take the duel towards CT. Smoke going to come top mid. And it's going to be the mid play from Ghost Gaming.
Yeah, it needs to be a fast one here. Obviously, Wardell's going to be more of a setup player towards any sort of after plant, so they're running straight in towards the side, just trying to overwhelm these players. And, well, it is going to almost work out straight away. Henny still on the side, trying to do work with the AWP, but it is just going to be a trade, and Wardell does the same. Neptune, however, left with only 7 HP. This should be an impossible task, but bear in mind, this is still a bonus round. This bomb plant gives them more than enough money to buy into the next round. If he can even find one more kill, and even if he doesn't, it's still going to be the pain train for Luminosity into the next. They're going to play it together, though. A smart decision.
The smoke on Nekis, if he burns that on Pit, let's wait and see. Then that Molotov could be around winning. He's not. So he's going to throw this, but the Molotov is going to get cancelled out by the smoke instantly, and now Neptune has to go for the frag.
Yeah, so the bomb is ticking. Nobody's actually onto it just yet. Now, they don't have a kit in place. If he can get this kill, he has a chance, but actually unscopes just the right time. Have they actually got the diffuser? It's very close. Oh,
that is...
The thing is, if he even just goes for a little bit of a dirty fight there, just tries to take a bit of a shot at one of the players and they get off the bomb, he wins that.
Exactly. It's basically marginals that he could have taken home that round. And as you said before, they have plenty of money to get the spy going on the
They even get an AWP. Like, saved from the previous rounds. Although he doesn't challenge it, you're sort of looking at it going, does he care? Like, look at the CT side purchase. It's actually pretty much worse than what we saw. The only thing is now that Henny has his armor behind the AWP, but you've still got Neck is only on a MP9.
Yeah, very interesting he goes for the MP9, because he should have the information that this is going to be the buy from Ghost Gaming. So... gonna have to wait and see what his plan is. He could have something very, very specific in mind with it. So let's not criticize him too early. But it's definitely a hard weapon to use against an AK. Like, we can say that for sure.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those sort of 1-for-1 trades, potentially, which all in all isn't too bad. It looks like he's gone more heavily into the utility, but at the same time, he could have got a FAMAS. Could have even just got a different SMG or
Yeah,
something
the
else.
UMP in
but
that sense with the armor penetration, in my mind, would have been way better. But that's just me.
maybe it's preference. Personal preference with SMGs, I feel like, is a massive factor. I don't think you're going to be telling Fur to not buy an MP9. It is not really the case, and already a couple of trades. T-side managing to get themselves back in here. They're doing damage over towards the other side of the map. The problem is they've sort of split the defense, but at the same time, they don't really have any ground. They've managed to get in towards that CT spot, which is a powerful position, especially in terms of Nekkis. Now, we mentioned he's already dwindled in terms of the weaponry he has. The question is, will they actually expect the angle? Because it is just such a weird one. He tries to play around the edge of the smoke and has actually done a reasonable amount of damage. The problem is he's now going to get pincered in. Wardell looking to come around the corner, but his teammates will be flanking in through CT. Henny, this should be the easiest kill of his life, and in fact, both players combined to find a couple, and there isn't going to be any reset here. The T's don't win the round back.
And Nekkis with 2 frags and an assist on that MP9. So I'm happy I didn't say anything. He makes it work, and
I will shut up now.
that's once again like with weapons like that. If you have very specific setups and plans around it, then it's actually not a bad choice. And he runs the long game. He takes a chance, and yeah, he wins on that gamble.
T-side have actually gone for the force here. They had enough for a couple of AKs, a MAC-10 onto Sub-Rosa, but definitely isn't the best of buys, especially considering what we've seen from them so far. Could have easily just taken the hit and got a buy into the next round, and now we do get a double AWP setup coming in from the CT side. Now, they definitely don't have everything behind this purchase. Still a UMP in play on Steel. Not the worst, but that is the 2 quick kills coming in over towards the apartment. Normally, the double man setup at least gets 1.
Steel even grabs the AWP. Plays down that Molotov to kind of keep him away from grabbing the AWP, but he was so quick, almost bunny hopping into that position. Kusta, he's already warmed up, 9-2, ready to challenge, but Yell will shut him down.
They've gambled completely. The B site's open. And the fact is, although the T's don't know this, they're just going to go running in. They probably have spotted a couple of players over towards the other side of the map, and while this couldn't be much easier for Ghost, I don't think there's any way that the CT side can warrant an attempted retake here. No. Especially just because they know that at least the buy's a little bit dwindled. You don't really even want to just hand over these remaining weapons. Just
also,
hold on to them.
They know that they probably have picked up the AWP from apartments, and that's so hard to battle against post-plant.
Well, it is going to be a 3-2. Ghost, their force buy works wonderfully, but I am still very surprised. Like, if you have a crossfire like that in the apartments, if you don't get a single kill, something's gone very badly wrong.
I've seen that fail 3 times, and all 3 times have been French players doing it. 2 times G2 and 1 time LDLC. And that's out of what, like 90, 100 setups. And this is time number 4 now.
So it's never happened to a Danish team?
No, because I actually don't do it that
believe
much.
it.
I'm actually not kidding you. But then again, I don't watch every Counter-Strike game. So that would be impossible at this point.
I do.
Every single game.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, wow.
Even though it's literally impossible.
There's literally like 4 games.
Like, even if you're just trying to watch the whole of Blast, that's quite difficult because because the games are on at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
You could do like multi-streams though. But then, are you really watching the game?
Yeah, that's the problem because I feel like Counter-Strike, especially if you want to use the information and not just be entertained and keep track of the scores, you have to really be focused to watch a game. You can, of course, watch it for entertainment.
Ooh, hello.
Oh, okay, that's entertaining from Lucas.
Lucas with a double spray down in Amp. They put 2 players there in the last round. It didn't work. They put him there alone, and he will find himself a double. And in fact, this is the thing with this Luminosity roster. They just won every single battle they took. And they took them all at the same time. Yeah. It made absolutely no sense, but hey, it worked wonderfully for them. We see the aggression over towards Banana, the same in App, Steel finding a kill elsewhere. And while now Wardell left to try and do some damage, will find the pick, but Lucas...
Nice refrag.
Lightning fast trade. And it is just 3-3. And now, again, the T's are in a bit of a troublesome position. This was fantastic. Like, Camps just won with a nade out, but to get the second kill...
Yeah. And also, like, the frag coming in with the Molotov, but apart from that, like, 3... You could say Lucas, of course, takes 2 of them, but 3 individual 50-50 duels, and they win all 3 of them. What more can you want, really? Like, the problem is that Luminosity are not going to be able to do that and replicate that round and round and round after, because they are still taking 50-50 chance duels. This is very nice. Utility damage early on, taking so much HP off these guys, spraying through the smoke. Henny is going to get 1 with the Molotov. Actually going to get 2. They're just going to get barbecued, but Neptune and Wardell somehow, some way gets in towards the site. And now it's a 3v3.
Lucas trying to do even more damage through the smoke, and the fact is the T's can get a bomb plant here. The force buy wasn't particularly pretty, but they've managed to get it to an after plant. The fact is, though, the CTs are fairly well equipped for this retake. They've got a couple of incendiaries to try and throw, and they're even going to go for the boost over the top of the smoke, but there isn't any opportunities to be had. The T's are in very passive positions, and rightly so. They don't have much health to play with. They need to just burn down this clock as much as possible. Now, Nekis is going to try and come in on the flank. The Molotov already going to clear out one as Wardell will fall, and Steel and Neptune with a lot to do. But Steel, he gets the flank on the flanker and manages to put this down to just 2 players. They don't even have time anymore. The clock has gone, and that's exactly what they were planning to do. This was exactly what Ghost wanted. We'll burn down that clock. Steel was the little bit of a snake in the grass, and although actually another teammate dies, it doesn't matter. Ghost, they still around from nothing.
Yeah, no, like imagine with all that utility damage to begin with, 2 players going down to the Molotov at short, you still get a bomb plant, you still win the round and 1 player survives. That's the best case scenario of a terrible start to a round.
You have to wonder, though, if that's more down to Luminosity retaking. Because, okay, there were a couple of smokes there, which were just smartly put into the same position, but I felt like at that point, that's where Luminosity need to make a play, rather than just being like, oh, we got time. We can just wait for the smoke. And that was it. They were so gambled in on, okay, Next is going to bail us out of this round. And the second Steel kills him, well, I think we both just looked at him and went,
yeah.
Oh, they ran out of time. Okay. That's the round done. And those are the sort of rounds, especially on the CT side of Inferno, you can't be giving away. You need to start building your CT side up. And so far, Luminosity, every time they've been in a position to break their opponent, they've then just lost the round to what was a force buy.
Looking tough for the Brazilians as 3 out of the 5 buy down to almost nothing. Lucas and Steel both with a bit of extra cash left on the account. But still, this is the buy, this is the double up setup, this is the investment for them. But on the other side of things, Ghost Gaming, they could also easily be reset. Very important round. Key round in the first part of the first half here. And usually through history, Inferno has been a CT-sided map, but it has shifted in the later stages. Comes all down to momentum and choice.
Blind try the timing shot, but it's Lucas to actually do the damage, and I feel like these two just on the site themselves should be enough to hold it down. Henny again, lightning fast, and he will just be able to close it out. This is just the ludicrous nature of the way that this game has gone so far. It's either incredibly close and Ghost scrape it through, or Luminosity just slap them back down to nothing again.
And it has been Lucas and Henny. We've been talking about them even before this game started. Look at this beautiful, this third shot coming in. The reaction speed. He would have gotten the fourth if Lucas didn't get it anyway.
Just avoid the brothers. That's
yeah,
what,
just go
what
B.
I've learned. Just go B and hope that Henny isn't playing B that round. But it's sort of a weird way to look at the game, because these two players are very, very talented. I think Lucas has a lot of experience behind them, but it is sort of scary where, like even in the round before, like, Henny burns 2 players alive, it goes into a 3v5, and the T's managed to win it. Like, it just doesn't really make any sense.
Nope. Not really much to say about that. I'll do the same analysis as Chad did after that last EU game. And just say nothing.
Well, you know what? You say it best when you say nothing at all.
Reference game on.
Well, once again, going to be a full investment, but it seems to be getting worse and worse for Ghost Gaming. Before they were buying him with a couple of... Oh, come on. Where has this come from again? It's looking like the T's are actually managed to surround this side. They're going to try and wrap in, but this may actually be a mistake. There's only one man on the A side. They're pushing into Steel, and he's just looking to try and hold this down alone. Kusta will be there for the trade. Now, Henny running through the smoke. He's got to be very careful. He is looking to come in on the flank. Still, though, I don't know how.
It's
they've
a
managed to
2v2.
turn this back, and they're going to run into Neck as he's just around the corner. He gets himself one, but he somehow manages Wardell. I'm not really sure. I think Wardell probably should have traded that one out.
Yeah, I think the secondary player Wardell should have gotten that frag, but still, nonetheless, takes advantage of it. Nice free transfer. Can't really take anything away from that. But that seems to be, as we pointed out before, the kind of nature of this game so far. Like Luminosity will start off, we think they have it, and then something weird will happen, and somehow, some way, Ghost gets through, and then either they'll get through and win the round, or it'll just turn on its head once again, and Ghost Game or Luminosity will just shut it down with a play like that.
Well, that's the thing there. In that round, I think Ghosts were just a little bit unlucky with their decision making, because it was they had the arch side, and obviously that you only really have two options there, which is try and wrap in through CT, which just happened to be where the somewhat stack almost was in from the Luminosity side. They went for a bit of a B gamble early on, or wrap around into the site. And if they wrap around into the site, there's only one man there. Henny, he's been excellent so far, but he can only take one shot at once. If they just went running in, they probably had a 4v3 on the site, and they managed to win a 3v5, so I wouldn't be betting against them. Interesting.
Yeah.
Sub Rose has gone for a bit more
Exactly
of an
what
investment
we're
than
about to
everyone
say, the exact same thing. This is a weird choice, but that means that he'll be probably on Deagle Armor utility for the next buy. Which isn't really bad because it's Sub Rosa and he has a deadly Desert Eagle. But still, it's a P250 head armor. That is 2,000 straight up if he didn't buy that. He would have had a full buy. It's not because he was on like 1,200 and he would have had a bad buy anyways. Kusta getting wing clipped down to 20 HP.
I wonder if he's going to lead the way. He's not. It's going to be Neptune as more of
Timing on Henny.
Oh, he's caught with a nade in hand, and that will actually be an AWP right in towards that corner. Nice shot from Lucas, though. He is just cleaning things up once again. Sub Rosa does win the battle. The fact is, though, this war is pretty much over. Yell comfortably cleans up the round. And it's going to be 6-4. Luminosity now starting to build into this one a little bit. I think the attempt really was to try and do a bit of damage. Got one player. I suppose that's something. But other than that, not really anything too impressive.
Here comes the buy. Sabros this time around going for the UMP, not the Desert Eagle. So he had just enough money to get that armor penetration in as well. Still going for the Khalil. So not the best of buys in the world. But still, definitely something they can use to fight back. Wardell, Molotov's not going to spread to his position, so he's still alive in this corner. Deep flashbang. They think they have this taken out, but spending so much utility taking top banana control right now, Luminosity. If Wardell gets this frag, and he will, that's so much utility spent and nothing gained. Will he get the second one? That's such an important part of this round. He just takes 2 frags straight up and forces him to spend all those grenades.
And they've got nothing.
Yeah.
They've got nothing left. It's 2 flashbangs. That's the only defensive grenades they have. And, well, they're being picked off on the other side of the map. Kusta will catch them in the rotations. And Steel goes for the ultimate Hail Mary play. And it just isn't going to work. And I think this sort of replicates how close these rounds have been when you just look at the CT side economy.
We can definitely see it now. Buying all the way down. For some players, that means an AWP that's getting dropped and you can get some armor behind it. For other players, it means, in Henny's sense, he has nothing. I'm pretty sure that AWP will be thrown to him, and then it's going to be still with the USPM. That will be the case eventually. Neck is also taking some damage with the Desert Eagle, and UMP 45 on Lucas will be taken down to 4 HP. The T-side push will come towards the banana, which is where 3 players have been stacked. Still now rotating back towards CT, but the second that CT smoke drops from the T-side, they're probably going to over-rotate 1 or 2 players towards that B-bomb side once again. Plenty of utility left on Ghost Gaming.
Yeah, the same cannot be said for Luminosity, and has been a bit of a problem for them so far. 4 flashbangs is all that remain. They don't have a kit either. So if the bomb goes down... Thing is, I will say, if the bomb goes down, the rounds have pretty much gone Ghost Gaming's way, no matter what happens. The second that bomb has been planted, Luminosity's retakes have not looked good at all. And we do have Ghost Gaming looking to set up in towards B.
Let's see if they rotate.
I think it's Lucas. He's on 4 HP. A lot of this is going to come down. Somehow, how does he get 2 kills? 1 bullet needed to tag his toe, and that would have been enough to put him down. Instead, he's found a double and actually given them some hope in this round. As said, though, their retakes so far have not been good. I feel like Nekis has to do something. Kusta still trying to hold into middle. It's a bit of a bait play from Yell, who desperately wants to find this pick with the AWP. Instead, he's going to have to go on the long rotation back round in towards CT, but the peek out from Wardell will actually give an opener.
But
now
will it be in
Sub-Rosa in
time?
the back of the site.
There's no kit.
That's true, actually. They need to get their move on. This happened previously where it came very, very close. If Sub-Rosa can do anything here, in fact, it's Kusta just slowing things down, and the crossfire actually being quite effective here. They need to get someone on the bomb. I don't know if they've got that.
That is very close.
I think they may just about. It's going to be very close indeed. Oh my god, it's going off. The bane of not buying a kit.
Yeah, exactly. And also one thing, I think they kind of brought that onto themselves. They didn't really count on Lucas getting 2 frags, and to be fair, that's probably the right choice. Because the rotations were so slow. They had the Deagle player, which is the expendable player. They sent him in towards Ruins because if you can get a frag or 2, that can disrupt the economy. But the AWP player, I think it was Henny, stayed way back in CT. And then you had the other AWP player who didn't even rotate from the other bomb side. They didn't even believe that this retake was going to happen. And therefore, they kind of like shot themselves in the foot. Didn't even count on getting anything done in this round. And then ended up having to go for it because they get that double entry or double defense frag from Lucas. And then 1 frag from the AWP. And then you kind of have to go for it. But it's too late. Well, should I stay or should I go? The good...
That's sort of your dilemma this morning with the train. Should I stay in the airport or should I go?
Yeah.
And you definitely made the wrong choice.
At one point, Tom, I was very close to just going home and just sleeping.
Well, you did go home, didn't you?
No, I just went to the train station.
Oh. Well, Wardell looking to probe into an empty B site. The only thing to defend it is that plant pot. And, yeah, it's not going to be happening. They've just gone for a full-on A stack. Understandable, really. Now they can just look to try and defend this AWP. They get the loss bonus going into the next round, which the rest of the players will be able to afford rifles. The only problem would be if Kusta can catch them. Now... The answer to that is no. Lucas has still just been incredible so far throughout this match. It really has been one of the main reasons Luminosity have any rounds on the board.
And it was the win conditions we talked about. Like the win conditions for Luminosity Gaming right now with the momentum of Ghost in Pro League is that these 2 brothers step up, and they have done. That's why this is such a close game.
The thing is, though, I'm interested to see how much Henny can do over on the T side. Because I feel like T side AWPing on Inferno,
very hard.
It's either like if you're going for actual like entry kills or like peeking into angles, it takes an almost like expert game or mistakes, and then the only other reason you'd have an AWP is to counter another AWPer, which okay, granted you do have multiple players who can AWP over on the Ghost Gaming side, but I feel like if they know this team, like it was sort of mentioned on the desk, it's hard to counter a team if they don't really know how they're playing, but. You're going to expect there to be an AWP on that T side. You're going to expect them to be very aggressive. If they play a more passive warping style or even just don't play an AWP, I feel like you're not going to give much over to Henny over on the other side.
Also, if you play an AWP on that T side, you're also playing to get into a lot of post-ban positions because that's where the AWP is most efficient. The problem I see for Luminosity is if Ghost Gaming just play incredibly defensive. Like, what do you do then? Because then it comes down to the duels into the bomb side. You don't get into the post-ban situation.
Like the sort of Tai Lu versus other Luminosity, the more legendary one.
Yeah, exactly. So, if Steel reads this correctly, I feel like Henny could have a hard time on the T side compared to the CT sides, where he's doing really well right now.
Well, minute left on the clock. Again, seems like Luminosity, a lot throughout this game, we saw that sort of one round where they try and challenge Banana. It didn't go very well. So they've gone back to this sort of passive style. Now, a lot of this relies heavily on utility. We can just see the smoke sort of burning down. I remember, the sort of old style where you just throw smokes across the map to try and deny these pushes. The fact is, though, they're actually just going to push straight through them. They've got the wraparound smoke enabling them into position, but there's 2 CTs waiting. Steel and Yell chime in. It's the 3 players we haven't really mentioned so far holding down this defense. Wardell now in a hell of a lot of trouble. And Kusta finally rotating in, but I think it's too little too late. He's got to try and do something very heroic. He does actually manage to find a couple of picks. Now he can at least keep the economy of this CT side low. And he's only got 20 seconds.
If he gets 1 more, then that's fine.
Well, it's not going to happen. Lucas has ruined your dreams, Risk.
And double up setup picked up once again. That also means a lot for their economy. That means that it can grow even more if they want to keep that going. Oh, well. Actually, scratch that, Tom. It's the last round of the first half.
That is true. And the T's have plenty of money to buy back in.
Doesn't matter. See, once again,
in the end,
I did the mistake, Tom, of trying to do very simple math.
Yeah.
It's actually not even math. It's just reading the screen.
Yeah, that can be difficult. Henny, Again, going for this more aggressive peek into middle. Neg will do a little bit of damage, but not anything to really write home about just yet. In all honesty, well, it's very close, but I feel like if Ghost get off to a strong CT start, and they do just basically don't allow Luminosity to find those opening picks, I think it's going to be a troublesome time. I don't see Luminosity having like a deep strat book. Either way.
They have been playing together for a long time. But I do agree with you, they don't strike me as an incredibly tactical team.
On the side, he missed the sitter of a shot. Does manage to hit the second, but it's too little too late, and now it's left on to his brother. Sat in the pit, he's been excellent so far, and he does manage to shot off one, and the problem is not clearing him out. It leaves your afterplant positions in trouble. They can't take over this pit until he's gone, but Steel will do just that. Yell in return with the AWP, manages to find another, and well, Steel just look at a slow peek out through the Molotov, turns it into 1 versus 1. It's Sub Rosa trying to burn down this Glock. Obviously, this time there is a kit in play, and Neckers will win the battle. Luminosity, they take themselves the half just about, as it's as close as it can damn get.
Deep breath. As we do see an 8-7 half coming in for Luminosity. And Ghost Gaming, they look great throughout so far this season of Pro League. Luminosity, not really the same can be said for them, but so far on Inferno, CT side, they have been looking fine. The question is, can they kind of replicate that going into that second half on the T side? How are we going to see Henny on that orb? Are we going to see him at all? That's the question.
But yeah, I think the one like really prominent factor though is that Lucas has been playing so well in this game so far. A little bit of a slow start, but after that he just exploded into the map with this M4. And I think going into the second half, if he can continue that run of form, he's another one where it's the same with Henny. Like, if he goes off the chains, I don't think there's anybody that can compete. The only problem I do have, though, is that normally, I say normally because it does happen occasionally, if somebody has an incredible half, it's very, very difficult to continue that into the second half because, well, for starters, different skills are necessary. And also, like, in all honesty, this is where I think Ghost should be able to just drive this home. You expect them to have more strategy. Inferno, heavy utility usage is always important. I feel like if you look at the scoreboard, now you have that wonderful utility damage stat. If it doesn't say over 200 on the players who are playing B, they've not done a good enough job.
There we go. I can't really disagree with that. And as we talk about utility damage...
Has he been shot through the wall?
Yeah.
I love it.
Double nade set up on the CT side in the pistol round, which is something we very, very rarely see.
And they've abandoned B as well.
This is a very unorthodox way of playing CT Inferno.
They've heavily stacked that A side.
And it's still, he hasn't put down the smoke yet. He doesn't even have it, like, ready to go. This is a really tough scenario for him.
It looks like they're pretty much playing the retake here. Now, maybe the double nade is going to be used to just clear a spot, which is a pretty expensive way to do it, but if it works, it works. Now, Steel can't really afford to go down if he's holding all of that utility, but he baits them in for Kusta, who's going to be able to pick off one. These are the two utility players for the team. Now, the nades are going to go in. That really didn't do anything. It just seemed a little bit of an odd place to throw it, but either way, Neckers has managed to find one back. They've got the smoke to actually smoke off position, but already, look at the trades back. Yell and Neckers just chiming in and leaving Wardell alone. He's managed to find a first. Now, there is a kit in play. The smoke somewhat gives a little bit of leeway for him to cross in towards the side, but he needs this kill within a second, and Yell with an excellent pistol round will finish it with a triple. It is going to be Luminosity to find the second, and although it was unorthodox for the CT side, unfortunately, it did not work at all.
No. Also, that nade that was thrown, the one from CT, landed on the side, didn't do that much damage. It was fine. The second one being used to kind of take map control away from that coffin's position, where you can kind of hog the right side of the wall towards ruins, and you can kind of hold that headshot angle. Clear that, yes, but in a retake scenario where there's so many players alive, I'm not sure if that nade gets its full worth in that position, just clearing that map control. But then again, Counter-Strike is a game of split-second decision-making. It's very easy for me to sit after the round and say that. Like, in that scenario, someone probably called, we need to clear this position, and someone had a nade, and he was like, okay, that's a free clear. It's a tough job. It's a very, very tough job to be a Counter-Strike player. You have to make every simple, like, every decision has to be correct. That's basically what they need to do. There's no leeway.
God, the stack. I always really like these middle stacks. They managed to get themselves 3 kills. Still, he has to spray more than one down, and that is not good enough. Neck is now left in a 1v4. They've managed to retrieve all the weapons as well. Ghost. Wow, you said you loved the full eco win. You said it would be hugely valuable, Risk. Did you expect to see one today?
From the high pitch of your voice, I'm guessing you didn't either.
It's not done yet.
Nexus is still alive.
He's managed to trade this back. He's being shot from behind down to just 18 HP. Steel wanting this round desperately, and that is fantastic. I was midway through saying it. I love those middle stacks.
Yeah. This is why somehow, some way, this update actually really works out, because then a round like this is so wild and crazy. Like usually when we had P250 C-set buys, we would see, okay, yeah, there's a Deagle buys, okay, there's a chance that something can happen. On a full USP, like save, they managed to get something home, and that's
$300 in a round win.
It's an ecstatic feeling. We used to have a saying, like back in Danish lands, when you won a round, what you would yell to your opponents, did you also have an eco? Because it used to be like, if you had an eco, there would be no way of winning. And Lucas, he wants it differently, though. This is not an eco, not a full eco at least. Some Desert Eagles are still in play here.
Yeah, they've invested a fair bit of money into this one, but they are doing quite a bit of damage. Wardell at least going to try and help Kuster out, who is very low on HP at the back of the site. Molotov as well. Is it actually going to clear the angle? I wonder. No, it's not. So Lucas is still going to be left in towards this grill position. However, there's a full rotation in. It ain't happening, Risk. They're not bouncing back. They need.
It's because they didn't have a full eco, Tom.
That's what I was going to say. They need a full Glocks. Need to rock out with their Glock out if they were going to be able to win that one.
Good old Glock train.
The thing is as well is the value of winning a round like that is not only the fact that obviously you get all the weapons, you get the favor change, but not only that, especially with a team like Ghost, when you have like Steel at the helm, he is going to be rubbing his hands at a victory like that. You know that will have pumped them up back at home. And you know that for Luminosity, like they have some pretty like hot-headed players at times. That's going to be incredibly tilting.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. This is, like, it hurts to lose these rounds. And especially in matches where it really counts. Like these kind of games right now in the Pro League where both of these teams, like Ghost Gaming on a great way into the season, they have a chance of actually qualifying for LAN finals. Luminosity Gaming need to get back up on the horse, need to win something. This means a lot for both of these teams. And to lose or win a round like that it means so much. It's just a match in the match for these two.
Well, they managed to do a little bit of damage already onto Wardell. The thing is, I feel like it's much easier to win a round, like a full eco round, when you're on the CT side.
Oh, for sure.
Like if you have a decent stack, if you have the crossfire correct, you can somewhat blind players to the person you should be looking at. And on the T side, you pretty much just have to go running into players who are static and waiting for you to push. Like the surprise factor is never going to be there because, well, basically it's the job of the CT side to predict that you're going to push them.
Yeah, basically on T side, if you have full Glocks, every single player has to headshot 2 times to win their duels.
Yeah.
And that is almost impossible. Unless you get into a post-plant situation and you get some weapons, then like it's nearly impossible.
Well, a nice clean round from the CT side. Going to be able to build up the economy. That's something also the Luminosity were never really able to do. They had enough for maybe an extra buy in their pockets, but other than that, that was about it. So they were never really in this position. You can see Wardell already with $10,000 in the bank, ready to bring in that AWP whenever he desires. Now, Henny has purchased his. The question is, are the CTs actually going to take any aggressive peaks, or are they just going to wait patiently and basically just leave Henny's AWP completely stagnant and useless?
Yeah, and the second that they hear this up, and the second that the round is also over, I'm really looking forward to seeing how the decision making of Ghost Gaming is going to come in. Are they going to challenge this? Are they going to buy an AWP of their own to kind of challenge Henny in this kind of mid, or are they just going to stay back?
That kill was straight through smoke. I think he heard the steps as they were pushing into Banana, and Nekis has just found an opener for the T side, which completely changed the thing. This is where the AWP becomes more valuable, but Sub Rosa, a pixel angle through the edge of the smoke, and Lucas is gone. One of the heroes of the first half for Luminosity. He is down and out, and now, well, I was going to say about how they have to react, how they'll be playing more aggressively, which will play into the hands of Henny. Second they get that kill, they really don't need to, but Steel has other ideas. Going to go pushing, finds out some information. They've still got players over towards the B side. It does leave the A side a little bit more open, and Subrosa will still have quite a lot to do here as they go pushing in, and Neck is his second opener. This time, he's praying to God that nobody goes peeking back in. Neptune had a chance, but he doesn't know. He's just missed it, and now it's all on to Wardell. 1 to his name already, but it is just going to be the trade back. Neptune turns it into a 2 versus 2. So still the afterplant.
Kid on both CTs. They're both rotating in time. Gonna walk through the edge of the smoke. Just holding pit. Are they gonna spot Steel's position? It's gonna be the double kill from Steel. Nicely
Triple
played.
from Steel.
Patient played.
It's all Steel kills there.
Yeah, that's true.
And Steel steals the round.
Hey. We used to have like a bunch of players back in the day with the same name. Back in the day, it used to be when you came to LAN, and a very important LAN, most of the international LANs, we had maybe 1 or 2 per year.
Well, didn't Mega Man try to almost steal your name?
Yeah, but that's a different story. We didn't fight or because usually back in the day, like people would have competitions. If they had the same name, they would play like a best of 1 or best of 3 on LAN. Like if they met each other, then the loser had to change his name.
It's a good thing there's nobody else who wanted to Tom Biz name.
It's just such a good name, man. Like no one can replicate what you bring.
Well, if they did try and steal it, they would win. Because I suck. But yeah, nice aggressive start there. Wardell going so aggressive into the apartments, and that's the second player now. Steel also caught. Subrosa has a chance to turn this back, though. Henny will spot him. And the thing is, I think it may be too far gone. He has a lot left to do. And the T side are swarming. The only thing is the bomb is behind him. So they do actually have to go pushing into this angle. The question is, I don't think Kuster actually has any idea. He still goes peeking, though, and actually catches Yell, swapping weapons. Spots the man in middle and finds the kill on him as well. It's left all onto Neckers, and he now spots that bomb. That's so much more valuable to him. He's going to be able to escape out in towards this second mid position.
I don't think he spotted. This is such a hard round to read now for Neckers, because he doesn't see anyone in second mid, and that's a perfect rotation. Kuster with the 2,000 IQ plays. 3 kills for him, and a round 1. 23 to 16.
I feel like if you had 2,000 IQ, you'd just die. Like, you'd just be like Brainiac. You'd just be trying to like rule the whole world.
But the whole like X amount of IQ meme doesn't really make sense anyway. So why not meme the meme?
If you outdo the meme, maybe it will die. That's what's risk don't put for. He wants to kill all memes.
I want to do the exact opposite, but I want to make memes great again. That's what I want to go for.
Oh god, are you gonna have that on a hat?
Yeah. It's gonna be blue instead of red, just to drive the message home.
Yeah, I'm sure Trump's gonna be so upset with it. Well, it's pistols once again. I feel like Luminosity have
but full investment pistol. Full investment pistol. So this is definitely doable. But you need to hit shots like that if you want to get something out of the round.
Well, that's the thing. Like Henny had a good CT side. He has fallen off a little bit over on this T side so far. I think that was somewhat expected.
Yeah.
T side opening, definitely not easy. You're hoping that somebody else will find the openers. And to be fair, Neckers has. Neckers have been finding openers over the last few rounds. Also, the other thing to mention is Ghost Gaming and their anti-ecos are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, there are no cracks in the surface whatsoever on the CT side for Ghost. When they are in position to win a round, they just win it. There's no question about it. And back at, like, we have seen so many rounds of these, like, CZ, Steagles, all these buys with a few utility grenades behind it, go the opposite way of what you would normally think. But when Ghost Gaming play against it, there's just no question. Now it's a full eco. This is Counter-Strike 2004 right now. Good old ecos. You can trust ecos, Tom.
Sheer aggression coming out as well. Well, you say you can trust ecos. Did your mind lapse from what happened earlier in the game where they're full eco on a round?
But that's like a 2% out of 100 chance. And I'm fine with that.
I like how you said a 2% out of 100 as if percent is named from anything else other than 100. Yeah, no, when I say 2%, I actually mean out of 154. Like, the most unnecessary clarification ever.
I'm just trying to make sure that everyone's on the same page, Tom. I'm just making sure that all the viewers at home, they can follow.
Yeah, half the time out of a hole, just in case you're wondering.
13-9, we have a pause coming in.
13-9.
13-10, I can't even read anymore. But we have the tactical timeout coming in nonetheless.
Risk is so tired, he's forgotten how to read. That is the
That's a
second
problem.
time as well.
That's a problem. But 13-9 is not the scoreline, Tom.
It's not the scoreline. Yep, thank you.
Clarifications. That's once again, like, you gotta meme the meme. Tactical timeout though. No meme.
Is that what you have to say now after everything? That was not a meme, ladies and gentlemen.
I had something to say, but you kind of you kind of took it away. So now I'm just gonna sit back and relax.
I'm sorry, Neil.
It's okay.
Oh,
But Luminosity, they need to get something done now. That's why they took this timeout. There's no way back. If they lose this, it's gonna be 14. It's gonna be an eco again, or at least a force buy with pistols again, and then it's going to be done here on Inferno. And I don't see a way that Ghost Gaming are going to throw anything away. They've been stellar so far on this season side.
Flashbang catching multiple players, but still not really able to hold too much off here, and his counterpart will actually get the opener. He's trying to spray through and will at least turn it back. Another for Neptune with the Incendiary and Wardell, just knowing that he just needs to slow down any push onto short, allow his teammates to rotate, allow his teammates to take control of this arch side. Yell pretty much has everything to do it, and he doesn't manage to connect the shots. Now is a real problem for this T side. They have the pit, they even have the balcony, but they don't have the site, which is what they need. They want to get that bomb down. 40 seconds left on the clock, and you can see the CTs just playing patiently. Steel already finds another on Wardell with the crossfire, and you could tell Wardell there had pure confidence in his teammates to win all the battles. He smoked off, he molotoved off, he just sat in the corner and went, you know what, guys? You come in, you help me out, and then I'll peek when needed.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the confidence in your teammates. That kind of, like, even though you don't really do anything, you kind of create space, and the team creates space around it. And it's so important. You see every single top team in the world talks about this, like being able to frag for each other, being able to trust each other to throw the correct flashbang or bait correctly. And Ghost Gaming, they're playing a wonderful CT side, and it's on the back of that trust. One of the things. Everyone's still hitting their shots. Everyone's still playing great.
I like as well that Wardell, he picked up the AWP and went aggressive in one round. Second, it didn't work. Back to the rifle, back to more passive play style, back to what was working. Like it was sort of one of those things where if you had an AWP, they could have just absolutely trounced Luminosity, but it didn't work. So he just went, all right, rifles are working. I'm not going to change a recipe that isn't broken.
Yeah.
You don't always need to add something extra.
The winning recipe, Tom. You don't change it. You want to keep winning.
Basically like the recipe for that chocolate milk that they have in Denmark.
Oh, yeah.
If they ever change that, well, I'd probably do absolutely nothing about it, but
yeah, you wouldn't.
I'd be
able to
sad.
do much.
Like, that's it. I'm never coming here again. Chocolate milk changed.
You should come and visit for Odense and learn how to pronounce it.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'll stick with Copenhagen, even though supposedly that's not actually how it's said.
No, not in Danish, but Copenhagen is, everyone here speaks English anyway, so you'll be fine.
Pistols. Either way, I'm going to have the pistols. Managing to find a kill. The problem is they've got to get past up Rosa, and he is going to drop the bomb. Nice shot from Steel at least, but this has already given time for other Steel. But he will go down and leave it into a 2 versus 2. This is one of the better situations we've actually seen from the T side. And after plant, the bomb down. They don't have any armor, though.
Neptune, the young man coming into the team, 16 years of age now, has to clutch it 1v2. And he's going to get taken out by Yell. So very nice turnaround from the guys over at Luminosity. They are in that situation, 2v4, I think it was. And grab 2 kills quick, get the bomb down, and win those last tools as well. So Bro said they didn't pressure him. And I thought this was the round over after he got that 3rd kill, but somehow, some way, Luminosity, they found themselves in another round. And now money's not getting tight yet for Ghost Gaming, but if they lose this one in the next buy, we're looking at 13, and then it's going to be the eco probably.
Yeah, that's the big problem is it could get a little bit close. They've gone from no ops to 2. They've doubled up with Kusta picking up that secondary. Obviously, it used to be a primary AWPer. Nice shot from Steel, though. He's come alive in the T side as well. Time to wake up into this matchup. Rosa will quickly put him to bed, though. Lucas trying to find something through the smoke. I want to know, I don't think he's had many kills in this second half at all. I believe he had, well, maybe 16 in the first half. I think he now has 17.
Yeah,
so
Henny was on 11 as well.
So yeah, it's been a pretty quiet performance from him. It's been other players trying to step up into the mix, and Yell has to step up pretty big here. The problem is, I don't know if he'll know how close his opponent in Neptune is. The thing is, though, I like this from Ghost. Again, they're not over-facing. It's a bit of a bait and switch, and they don't even need the bait. Neptune will just put down Yell. It's 15-11, a straight bounce back, and yeah, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Lucas has had 1 kill in the second half.
And Henny's had 1 or 2, but then on the other hand, it's been Nekis and Yell, I think, and Steel also to kind of step up on that T side when they've won rounds. The problem is that Ghost Gaming have been so successful in their holes every single time. It's been, what, 2 rounds so far that I've seen a straight-up 5v round go Luminosity's way in the second half. Good utility damage to begin with, though. And that's definitely, they need all the help they can get right now, Luminosity. This is potentially the last round of Inferno. Wardell, quick scopes, snatches Steel straight out of those apartments.
It's left onto the pistols and Henny on the AWP. As mentioned, he has not had the second half that we were hoping for to make this a more competitive game. Looking like Lucas is going to be thrown right in. He manages to cross. There's 3 players on B. He's not going to have a good time, and while Kusta quickly picks out 1, the second is there for Neptune, and now Henny has to win a 1 versus 5. He does manage the first, but, well, they're just going to go hunting. No. It's a messy one, but it doesn't matter. Ghost Gaming will take themselves the map victory, and it will now be Luminosity to try and at least level things up with a win in the second map. However, I think they need their stars to wake up again. It's the brothers, Henny and Lucas, who had a fantastic first half, but the second half, definitely not the same.
Momentum didn't really start for them on this T side, and that's how it is when you're one of those players, kind of like Henny and Lucas in that category of momentum players. If the snowball starts rolling, then they'll be extremely good. As we see in this run here, that's like such a next level play from Henny, but we didn't see much of that in that second half.
Either way,
Lucas again.
We are going to be heading off to a break. We'll be back with the second map in just a moment.